Hello, I'm just reading Tales of Beedle the Bard. It's by J.K. Rowling, and she wrote these short stories for anyone who's really into Harry Potter. They're like a traditional tale, and I think they're for the wizarding world when they were growing up, and they taught them some morals on things of what they should and shouldn't do. Maybe I should read you one, actually. You might quite like it. The first one that I'm going to read is called The Wizard and the Hopping Pot. I wonder if that pot was mad and that's why it was hopping. We'll find out. There was once a kindly old wizard who used his magic generously and wisely for the benefit of his neighbours. Rather than reveal the truth source of his power, he pretended that his potions, charms, and his antidotes sprang ready-made from a little cauldron he called his lucky cooking pot. From miles around, people came to him with their troubles, and the wizard was pleased to give his pot a stir and put things right. If only we had a magic pot for right now, eh, kids? This well-beloved wizard lived to a goodly age, and then he died, leaving all his chattels to his only son. This son was of a very different disposition to his gentle father. What does disposition mean? I think it means he was a different type of character, different type of personality. So I don't know whether he was as generous as his father. Those who could not work magic were, to the son's mind, worthless, and he had often quarrelled with his father's habit of dispensing magical aid to anybody and all of the neighbours. Why did they deserve it? Upon the father's death, the son found hidden inside the old cooking pot a small package bearing his name. He opened it, hoping for gold, but found instead a soft, thick slipper, much too small for him to wear, and there was no pair, there was no other slipper. How odd. I'd have been made up with slippers, to be honest, but each to their own. A fragment of parchment within the slipper bore the words, "In the fond hope, my son, that you will never need it." That he will never need the slipper. We wonder why. The son cursed his father's age-softened mind, threw the slipper back into the cauldron, resolving to use it henceforth as a rubbish pail. A pail is an old-fashioned type of word for like a sort of bucket or a bin. That very night, a peasant woman knocked on the front door. "Oh, my granddaughter is afflicted by a crop of warts, sir," she told him. "Your father used to mix a special poultice in that old cooking pot for her." "Begone!" cried the son. "What care I for your brat's warts?" Charming. And he slammed the door in the old woman's face. At once there came a loud clanging sound and banging from the kitchen. The wizard lit his wand and opened the door, and there, to his amazement, he saw his father's old cooking pot. It had sprouted a single foot of brass and was hopping on the spot in the middle of the floor, making a fearful noise upon the flagstones. The wizard approached it in wonder, but fell back hurriedly when he saw that the whole of the pot's surface was covered in warts. "Oh, disgusting object!" he cried, and he tried firstly to vanish the pot, then to clean it by magic, and finally to force it out of the house. None of his spells worked, however, and he was unable to prevent the pot hopping after him out of the kitchen and then following him up to the bed, clanging and banging loudly on every wooden stair. Oh dear. The wizard could not sleep all night for the banging of the warty old pot by his bedside, and the next morning the pot insisted upon hopping after him to the breakfast table. Clang, 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 went the brass-footed pot, and the wizard had not even started his porridge when there came another knock on the door. An old man stood on the doorstep. "'Tis my donkey, sir," he explained. "Lost she is, or stolen, and without her I cannot take my wares to market, and my family will go hungry tonight." "And I am hungry now," roared the wizard, and he slammed the door upon the old man. clang, 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 went the cooking pot's single brass foot upon the floor. But now, in its clamour, was a mix of the brays of a donkey and human groans of hunger echoing from the depths of the pot. "Be still! Be silent!" shrieked the wizard. But not all his magical powers could quieten the warty pot, which hopped at his heels all day, braying and groaning and clanging, no matter where he went or what he did. That evening there came a third knock upon the door. And there on the threshold stood a young woman, sobbing as though her heart would break. "My baby is grievously ill," she said. Grievously is an interesting word, isn't it? Grievously ill. Sounds dreadfully ill, doesn't she? "Won't you please help us? Your father bade me to come if troubled." But the wizard slammed the door on her. He's not very helpful, is he? Now the tormenting pot filled to the brim with salt water and slopped tears all over the floor as it hopped and brayed and groaned and sprouted even more warts. Do you want to have a look at it? There's the hopping pot full of warts and cries and screams, and the wizard's legs look a bit hairy, don't they? Oh dear. Though no more villagers came to seek help at the wizard's cottage for the rest of the week, the pot kept him informed of their many ills. Within a few days it was not only braying and groaning and slopping and hopping and sprouting warts, it was also choking and retching, crying like a baby, whining like a dog, spewing out bad cheese and sour milk, and a plague of hungry slugs. The wizard could not sleep, could not eat with the pot beside him, but the pot refused to leave, and he could not silence it or force it to be still. At last the wizard could bear no more. "Oh, bring me all your troubles, all your problems, all your woes," he screamed, fleeing into the night with the pot hopping behind him along the road into the village. "Come on, let me cure you all, mend you and comfort you. I have my father's cooking pot and I shall make you well." And with the foul pot still bounding along behind him, he ran up the street casting spells in every direction. Pshoo, pshoo, pshoo. Inside one house, the little girl's warts vanished as she slept. The lost donkey was summoned from the distant briar patch and set softly down in its stable. The sick baby was doused in dittany and woke well and rosy. At every house of sickness and sorrow, the wizard did his best. Gradually, the cooking pot beside him stopped groaning and retching and became quiet, shiny and clean. "Well, Pot?" asked the trembling wizard as the sun began to rise. The pot burped out the single slipper he had thrown into it and permitted him to fit it onto the brass foot. Together they set off back to the wizard's house, the pot's footstep muffled at last. But from that day forward, the wizard helped the villagers like his father before him, lest the pot cast off its slipper and begin to hop once more. That was hilarious. The hoppity pot. It taught him a big lesson. Can you think what that lesson was? I think it was saying to be generous with his time and his powers, because if you're not, the pot will clang and never give him any rest. But he gave him the slipper and saying, "I hope you don't have to use it," because it was to go on the bottom of the pot's foot so that it muffled its sounds of distress. Oh, well, that was a fantastic story from Tales of Beedle the Bard by J.K. Rowling. And if you've ever seen or read any of the Harry Potter books, it is something that comes up a lot in the last one in particular, the Deathly Hallows, because there is a tale in here that gives Harry some clues as to how to get rid of the Horcruxes that Lord Voldemort created. So it's really interesting. So hopefully I'll catch up with you all again. I hope you're all staying safe, keeping well, and washing your little mitsies, and just in general trying your best to enjoy the situation. There are lots and lots of things for you to do on Paper Mash for each year group that everyone is setting you. Some maths, some English, maybe a little bit of extra things as well. So keep an eye out for them. But most importantly, stay safe and take care of each other and yourselves. And we really hope to see you soon. Right, ta-ra kids! Bye! soon!